I close my eyes and see the winter forest again. The cold and snow. They always remind me of death. What happened here, in the heart of that brutal winter, changed our lives forever. It was a time of brothers, of betrayal, and of blood. I served the Rurik dynasty. I saw Yarapolk rise, and I saw his brother Oleg, fiery like his father but lacking his cunning. When they clashed over a hunt, a single death lit a fire that would consume them all. Oleg fell, and Yarapolk, the elder brother, carried the stain of his death, even as he denied it. He tried to sacrifice me to the law in an enemy's city, just to prove his own innocence. But I knew the truth. He served my father. My father is dead. He served my brother. My brother is dead. Maybe I live because he never served me. That's what Vladimir the youngest said. He was called a slave's son, an idiot. He fled north to the Vikings, gathering an army of hardened warriors. While his brothers fought for power, he was quietly forging his own destiny. His first move wasn't against his brother, but for a bride. He marched on Polotsk for Rogneda, a princess promised to Yarapolk, but she scorned him. "I will never marry a slave's son," she declared. An insult like that could not be ignored. It was the spark Vladimir needed. War was no longer a choice. It was a necessity. He took Polotsk by storm, claiming Rogneda as his own, an act of brutal vengeance that announced his return. With his Viking army and a thirst for what was his, Vladimir marched on Kiev. Yarapolk, confident in his power, underestimated his younger brother. He saw an idiot, not a cunning strategist. Vladimir proposed a meeting, a parley for peace. Yarapolk, blinded by arrogance, walked into a trap, and just like that, the Grand Prince of Kiev was no more. The slave's son, the outcast, had seized the throne. Yarapolk dined with his ancestors, and Vladimir became the ruler of the Rus. But becoming Grand Prince was only the beginning. The people rejected him, the nobles despised him. He was a foreigner in his own land, haunted by the ghost of the brother he'd overthrown. He knew he had to surpass Yarapolk to become even greater than their legendary father. He turned to the old gods, seeking their power, their favor, through blood and sacrifice. He built idols and demanded worship, believing their ancient magic would secure his reign and protect him from his enemies. But the old gods failed. The Pecheneг nomads, a storm from the steppes, descended upon Kiev. They were a relentless tide of warriors, and the city's walls began to feel like a tomb. In the midst of this chaos, a captured Greek woman, Irina, brought a new idea, a different god, one who didn't demand blood but offered grace. While Kiev burned, Vladimir's most loyal warrior, Fyodor, prayed to this new god, and in a moment of sheer desperation, Vladimir saw something new, hope, a different path. With his city on the brink of collapse and his faith in the old gods shattered, Vladimir made a bold, almost insane gamble. He turned his eyes to the mightiest empire in the world, the Romans. He didn't ask for gold or soldiers. He asked for the emperor's sister, Anna, as his wife. An impossible demand, but in return he promised to conquer the rebel city of Korsun for the emperor. It was a vow that would lead him to the heart of the Roman world, forcing him to confront not just an empire, but his own soul. The siege of Korsun was brutal. His men were losing faith. But then, a betrayal from within the city walls gave him the key. Irina, Yarapolk's widow, showed him the city's secret, the underground water conduit. By cutting off their water, he brought the mighty city to its knees. He had kept his word. But the Romans had a condition for the marriage. Vladimir must be baptized. He had to forsake his gods and embrace theirs. In that moment, standing before the Roman emperor, he faced his final test. Would he kill the emperor and avenge his ancestors? Or would he choose a new life? Death does not exist, a wise man once told him. He chose to believe. He was plunged into the waters of baptism and emerged a new man, no longer just a prince, no longer a Viking warlord. He was Vladimir, servant of a new god. He returned to Kiev not with vengeance, but with a new vision. He tore down the idols he had raised, ending the age of blood sacrifice. He chose forgiveness over the sword, unity over war. The slave's son, the forgotten prince, the brutal conqueror, became Vladimir the Great, the man who brought a new faith to his people and forged a legendary destiny. Thanks so much for watching this epic story unfold. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.